All right, welcome back to Wicked Kitchen. Today we are gonna make one of my favorite childhood dishes, which is ants climbing trees, actually. I don't know where that name came from. I don't know if my mom made it up or it's an actual translation, but it's basically a Shanghai noodle with a ground meat, which we can use. You can use mushrooms, you can use any kind of plant meats on the market, and some green onions. A little spicy using some cellophane noodles. Absolutely delicious though. So let's get started. Let's start prepping. All right, so I have some green onions. There's a lot of green onions in here. I prefer a good amount of green onions. So we're gonna go ahead and slice these up. I do most of the green part in this until it gets down to the white. You know, if you want to use the whole green onion, you certainly can, but I like most of the green part for this recipe. I have some plant-based meat here. So you can grab any kind of burgers. There's a lot of burgers. There's also some crumbles on the market. These are some burgers that were just some plant-based burgers. Pea protein, these ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of cornstarch, okay? So you can use crumbles, you know, any kind of crumbles. Those are like beefless crumbles. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some cornstarch and then a little bit of garlic and soy sauce. A little soy sauce in there. Give it a little marinating. All right, let's use a little bit of garlic. So I have a microplane zester. So easy to use garlic. Just gonna zest up a couple cloves here. So you can see it gathers all in the end, which is quite nice. So this is just really one pot meal. I've been eating this one since childhood. One of my all-time favorite meals. Whenever I go visit my mom, she always makes it. And since she's turned plant-based, she's been plant-based for a number of years now, she uses a number of the plant meats on the market. So we're gonna start off with, we have these cellophane noodles. So you can buy these, they're basically mung bean noodles, okay? So you buy them dry. And I've soaked these in water. You hydrate them maybe 15 minutes, okay? 10, 15 minutes. Then they're strained, okay? Now, this is similar if you've had a Korean dish called japchae, which also uses a sweet potato noodle or a mung bean noodle. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these because otherwise it all binds together quite quickly when you cook them. So these are hydrated, a little chewy. So let me set those aside. Let's heat up a wok. Now this is my all-time favorite pan here. It's a carbon steel wok. You wanna make sure that it is on a high heat. Okay, this is high heat cooking at its best. It is best with gas, okay? But we're using this electric little griddle here. So let's get that nice and hot. I like to use a neutral oil, so you can use a peanut oil, which works really well. All right, so this is marinated, as we talked about. We're just gonna cook this up. Set that aside. That sounds so hot, doesn't it? Ira, add sizzle. Getting there. Okay, so if you're having stir fry, okay, it is much preferred to use a gas grill because it's gonna heat up so much faster. So stir frying is high heat cooking. Luckily, this isn't the full dish, this is just a component. So what I like to do is, if you're using a crumble, if you're using mushrooms, if you're using any of the plant-based, you know, sort of burgers out there and you crumble it up, I like to cook it in the same way by adding a little cornstarch, a little garlic, marinating it in a little bit of soy sauce. And you're basically cooking it and you're kind of coating the pan. So then the next step is you're gonna deglaze it with the liquid and adding all the other components to the dish. So basically just gonna cook this up. Might take a minute here. All right, so there's a number of different ways that you can spice this up. I like to use just a sambal. Sambal olek, it's basically a chili sauce. You can get it with garlic or not. And so we're gonna go ahead and make that up in a jar. Super simple. So I have a vegetable stock. You can use water also. So I have a vegetable stock here. I have more of that soy sauce or tamari. Okay. Let's see, some sambal in there, gives it some nice spice. I like chili. You can also add a fresh chili if you wish. Nice thing about sambal is it adds a really nice sort of acidity to it as well. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of sea salt also. And this is it, that's all it is. A little bit more cornstarch. What cornstarch is gonna do is it's going to really help this thicken up quite quickly. But the starchiness of the noodles really does help that. So easy as pie, okay? Same thing with most marinades, most dressings. I put it in a jar. This is just so easy. Have a couple mason jars around and just shake it up. That's it, okay? So I'm gonna set this aside and pray that this pan heats up a little faster. All right, finally this is starting to crisp up. Got some nice little crispy bits in there. All right, so I'm then going to add it to the bowl, back into the bowl, and this is gonna set aside, okay? We're gonna add this last. Now that this is fully cooked, this crumble, let's go ahead and add this liquid. So super easy recipe. I'm basically adding the liquid. I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer. And once it's at a simmer, then you're gonna add the noodles. You're gonna fold in the already cooked plant meat there with the green onions, toss, and you're done. Super simple, okay? All one pot. Let's go ahead and add these. This is nice and warm here. All right. So with this liquid being warmed up, it's actually going to absorb, the noodles are gonna absorb it very quickly, okay? So if you're working with high heat here, you wanna make sure that you're quick. You can see it, it's absorbing that liquid real quick, and you can see that these noodles are definitely softening up. I'll make a big batch of this, my kids love it. Obviously, if I'm serving it to my kids, I add a little bit less chili. All right, so this is getting there. Let's go ahead and add the rest of that cooked crumble. Mix that up, get that fully mixed. All right, green onions towards the end. I like lots of green onions. We're gonna reserve a little bit for garnish. And that is it. All right, let's get this on a platter. That is it. I'm gonna remove that from the heat. Right when you add the green onion, you wanna remove it from the heat. I also like to reserve, you notice I reserved a little bit of the liquid. And you'll see as this starts to cook, you'll be able to gauge how much liquid it absorbs. I could use a little bit more. It's nice to have that little bit of extra. That's it. So I remove it from the heat. I'm gonna grab a platter and dinner is served. It's so delicious. And this is one of the serve yourself or put the whole wok at the table kind of dishes. Okay. I serve that with a little bit of green onion. And there you have it. Such a delicious, simple, spicy noodle dish. Ants climbing trees, bugs on twigs, whatever you want to call it. It is absolutely delicious. One of my favorite one-pot noodle meals. So check it out. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find this recipe and a ton more great videos up there. And if you're in the UK, be sure to stop by Tesco and pick up one of the Wicked Kitchen items in our line. We're so excited to share it with you. Until next time, thank you all for joining. Yeah, this is high heat cooking at its absolute finest, dude. It's the worst. All right, let's go. Let's go. This is where you fast forward, Ira.